Everybody, we're diving deep today into something kind of exciting, I think. Passion.
Ooh, yeah, that's a big one.
We've got a podcast script that's sort of going to be our jumping off point, but
Mm.
we're not just summarizing here,
Yeah.
okay? We're really trying to unpack what this whole passion thing is all about.
I think it's something people talk about a lot, but maybe don't always really understand.
Yeah, finding your passion, following your passion, but like, what does that even mean? And more importantly, how do we actually do it? That's what we're going to explore.
And it's important, right? It's not just some fluffy feel-good stuff. I mean, it can really impact how fulfilled we feel in our lives.
Right. It's tied into that sense of purpose, that feeling of being truly energized and excited about something. The script actually defines it as more than just a hobby. It's like this intense enthusiasm that kind of makes you forget the world exists for a while.
Yeah, exactly. It's about that feeling of being completely absorbed in something.
So it's not just liking something, it's that almost like obsessive.
Yeah, totally. That feeling of being completely immersed in it. And what's interesting is that passion is really connected to what motivates us, like at our very core. It's not just a surface level thing.
So how do we uncover those passions?
Well, the script has some pretty clever strategies.
I'll lay it on us.
Okay, so the first one might sound a little unexpected. It involves looking back at your childhood.
Oh, interesting. So like what we were into as kids.
Yeah. Remember those things you were just totally obsessed with when you were little?
Oh, for sure. Like back when we weren't so worried about what other people thought.
Exactly. As kids, we tend to be less influenced by those societal expectations. We're more free to just explore what genuinely interests us. The script suggests that those childhood passions might actually hold some clues to what we're passionate about today.
Huh. Okay, so like if you were super into building Lego castles as a kid, maybe that translates to an interest in architecture or design or something now.
Precisely. Or maybe you spent hours drawing and creating your own worlds. Maybe that explains a passion for art or storytelling now.
Wow, that's actually really cool. I never thought about it that way. But it makes total sense. It's like those childhood interests are almost like this pure, unfiltered version of what we're drawn to before the world tells us what we should be interested in.
Exactly. It's about reconnecting with that inner child, the one who approached life with that sense of wonder and curiosity.
I love that. Okay, so looking back at childhood, that's strategy number one. What else have we got?
Well, this one's a bit more, straightforward. The script encourages us to, well, try new things, step outside our comfort zones.
Yeah, it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
You don't know what you're passionate about if you don't at least try different things.
Right, but I think it's important to be intentional about the experiences we choose. It's not just about randomly trying anything.
So not just throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks.
Exactly. It's about asking yourself what genuinely piques your curiosity, what makes you a little bit nervous, a little bit excited. Those are the experiences that have the potential to unlock hidden passions.
That makes a lot of sense. So it's not just about doing new things, it's about paying attention to how they make us feel. If something really energizes us, that could be a sign that there's something there worth exploring further.
Right. It's about noticing those sparks. And speaking of sparks, the script actually offers a really cool tool for tracking that energy. They call it the energy audit.
Ooh. Okay, what is that?
Basically, it's about keeping a journal where you document the things that make you feel truly alive and energized.
So it's not just about, being happy, it's about feeling really engaged, right?
Exactly. Like really in the flow, totally absorbed in what you're doing. The energy audit helps you become more aware of what those things are.
I dig it. So those are three solid strategies for uncovering passions. Now, let's be real. Even if we know what we're passionate about, there are always obstacles, right? I know I definitely struggle with this.
Oh, for sure. The script actually talks about some of the most common ones, and I think we can all relate to these. The first one is fear of failure.
Yeah, that's a biggie. The fear of, not being good enough, of messing things up. I think that holds a lot of people back.
It's definitely a universal experience, but I think it's important to reframe failure.
How so?
Instead of seeing it as a roadblock, see it as feedback. It's part of the process, not the end of the story. Every mistake, every setback can teach us something valuable.
Okay, so failure is not the enemy, it's like a teacher.
Exactly. It
Right.
helps us refine our approach, adjust our course, and ultimately get closer to where we want to be. The key is to not let that fear paralyze us.
I love that. Okay, so fear of failure, check. What's the next obstacle?
Well, this one can be a tough one to navigate. It's about those external expectations, the pressure to follow a path that's not really yours.
Ugh, yeah, that's a real thing. whether it's from family, society, or even our own inner critic. Like we feel like we should be doing something else, even if it doesn't light us up inside.
This is where it takes courage to stand up for what truly matters to you, even if it goes against the grain.
It's about having those tough conversations with ourselves and with others and saying, this is what I'm passionate about and this is what I'm going to pursue, even if it doesn't fit the mold.
And the people who truly love and care about you will ultimately want to see you happy and fulfilled, even if it takes them a little while to come around.
Absolutely. Okay, and finally, the obstacle that I think we probably all struggle with, lack of time. We're busy. Jobs, families, responsibilities. How do we even find the time to explore, let alone actually pursue our passions?
This is definitely a valid concern. It's so easy to get caught up in the busyness of life and feel like there's no room for anything else.
So are we just doomed? No time for passion?
No, not at all. It's about making time for what matters, even if it's just for a few minutes each day.
Okay, so even small chunks of time can add up.
Exactly. It's about prioritizing what's important to you and being willing to make some sacrifices. Even 15 minutes a day spent doing something you love can make a huge difference.
That's actually really encouraging. I think I sometimes get overwhelmed by the thought of needing huge chunks of time to dedicate to my passions. But if I break it down into smaller, more manageable steps, it feels much more attainable. So we've identified some passions. We're pushing through those obstacles. How do we actually, make it happen? What's next?
Well, that's a great question, and one that we're going to dive into right after a quick break. We're back and ready to tackle the next step: how to turn those sparks of passion into, well, action.
Yes. The script talks about setting clear goals. It's about defining what we actually want to achieve, right? Like if we're passionate about music, it's not enough to just say, I want to be a musician.
Right, we need to get specific. It's about having a clear target, a destination in mind, like, I want to learn to play the guitar. But even that could be more specific.
Oh yeah, good point. Like I want to learn to play Stairway to Heaven on the guitar.
Exactly. That's where the SMART goals come in, remember?
All right, SMART goals. That's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
Yeah, so instead of just saying, I want to learn guitar, a SMART goal might be, I'm going to practice guitar for 30 minutes every day for the next month.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. You've got a clear target, a way to measure your progress. It's realistic, it's relevant to your passion, and there's a deadline.
Precisely. It's about turning those vague desires into concrete actions.
So goals are key. Got it. What else does the script say about turning passion into action?
Well, once you've got those goals, it's time to create a plan. It's about breaking those big goals down into smaller, more manageable steps.
So it's like, if your goal is to run a marathon, you don't just go out and try to run 26 miles on day one.
No, definitely not. You'd start with shorter runs, gradually increasing your distance over time.
Right. So it's about those smaller actions taken consistently that eventually lead to the big goal.
Exactly. It's about building momentum one step at a time. And it's important to celebrate those smaller wins along the way.
Yeah, those little victories can really help to keep you motivated. I know when I see myself making progress, even if it's just a small step, it gives me the energy to keep going.
It's all about those small wins. They create a sense of accomplishment, which fuels our motivation and keeps us moving forward.
Okay, so goals, plan, small wins. Got it. But what about staying committed? Life happens, things get in the way. How do we keep that fire burning even when things get tough?
This is where consistency becomes really important. It's about making a conscious decision to show up for your passion, even when you're tired, even when you're busy, even when you don't feel like it.
It's about honoring that commitment you've made to yourself.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be this huge, overwhelming thing. Remember those small chunks of time we talked about earlier?
Yeah, those 15-minute pockets of passion.
Right. It's about finding ways to integrate your passion into your life, even in small ways. Maybe it's reading a book for 15 minutes before bed, or practicing guitar for a bit during your lunch break.
So it's about making those little moments count. And over time, those little moments add up to something much bigger.
Exactly. It's about creating a sustainable rhythm, a way to weave your passion into the fabric of your life. And when we start doing that, it becomes less about finding passion and more about cultivating it, nurturing it, like a gardener tending to a delicate flower.
Oh, I like that. Nurturing passion. That's a great segue into our next topic. But first, and we're back, ready to wrap up our deep dive into passion.
It's been a good one, right? Lots to think about.
Totally. Now, before the break, you were talking about cultivating passion. The script kind of focuses on finding your passion, but I think there's a whole other side to it.
Oh, absolutely. It's not just about discovering it. It's about nurturing those sparks over time.
Yeah, like a gardener tending to a plant, making sure it gets what it needs to grow.
Perfect analogy.
Yeah.
So how do we become those gardeners of our own passion? Well, one key ingredient is mindfulness.
Okay, mindfulness. So paying attention to the things that light us up.
Exactly. Noticing those activities, those moments, those thoughts that give us that surge of energy, that feeling of excitement. And not just noticing them, but really savoring them, letting yourself get fully immersed in the experience.
So like if I find myself getting totally lost in a painting project,
Yeah,
I should really pay attention to that feeling, how it makes me feel.
exactly. And maybe even jot down some notes about it. Journaling can be a really powerful tool for cultivating passion.
Oh, I love that idea.
Mm.
It's like keeping track of those sparks of inspiration, those moments of joy.
Right. It helps you to become more aware of what those things are so you can make more space for them in your life.
It's like creating a roadmap for your own passion. And speaking of nurturing, what about the people we surround ourselves with? Do they play a role?
Huge role. Think about the people in your life who inspire you, who support your dreams. Are you spending enough time with those people?
Yeah, good point. It's about creating a community that nourishes your passions, a group of people who understand and encourage you.
And it's not just about the people, it's about the environment you create for yourself, too.
Oh yeah, like having a dedicated space for your creative projects or surrounding yourself with things that inspire you.
Exactly. It's about making those passions a tangible part of your life, not just something you think about, but something you experience on a regular basis. And remember, it's not always going to be easy. There will be challenges, there will be setbacks. But that's part of the journey, too.
It's like anything worthwhile, right? There could be bumps along the way. But I guess it's about how we respond to those challenges, how we use them to learn and grow.
That's it. Passion isn't about perfection, it's about resilience. It's about that unwavering belief in yourself and your dreams, even when things get tough.
So it's a journey, not a destination.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And sometimes those detours, those unexpected twists and turns, lead to the most amazing discoveries. It's all part of the adventure.
This has been such an inspiring conversation. We've learned so much. From defining passion and uncovering our interests to overcoming obstacles and turning those sparks into action.
And ultimately, it's about cultivating those passions, nurturing them so they can flourish and continue to enrich our lives.
Exactly. So to wrap things up, what's one small step our listeners can take today to fan those flames of passion?
I'd say take a moment to reflect. Ask yourself, what truly lights me up? What makes me feel excited and alive? And then, even if it's just for 15 minutes, make time for that thing today. Nurture that spark, no matter how small it may seem.
Beautiful. Remember, everyone, passion is not a luxury, it's a necessity. It's what gives our lives meaning and purpose. So go out there, explore your passions, and embrace the journey. Thanks for joining us.